Do you smell that? Yeah, it's Dynasty season. Time for a startup draft. Woo! Looks like when I change that, it cuts out the intro a little fast, folks. We are back at it. Too much fantasy football. It's Brian. It's Brennen. It's too much fun. How are we doing today, man?
Yeah, too much green apparently too.
Oh, come on. We got to mix it up a little bit. All that red, all that
Yeah.
blue. We're working together. It's usually me versus him. We're going at it head to head. Not today. Well, we are drafting separate teams in the startup draft, but we're working together. We're trying to figure things out, learn a little bit before you all start your startup drafts. But of course, it's news time. It's that time of the year. We just did a show a couple days ago, and yet there's still more dropping, little nugs just falling all over the place. None more exciting than Davante Adams headlining now the wide receiver class for free agency, officially cut. And I can't tell you I'm more excited about that.
I mean, are we really excited, or is it just is he gonna wait to see where Rodgers goes and then he follows?
That's going to be the heartbreaking part. If he ends up going to a Cleveland, a Vegas, a wherever with Aaron Rodgers, or does he go somewhere and worry about his career? Go get that ring.
Yeah, I mean, like if he goes to Tennessee, I mean, I wouldn't mind Devontae going there because again, it's Calvin Ridley. Even I mean, he just goes back to the Raiders. Like, I mean, Jacoby Myers is still a wide receiver too. Kind of eats into Brock Bowers a little bit, but I guess Cleveland wouldn't be terrible as well. I guess.
Oh my gosh, give me the Rams. He said he wants to go back to California. Give me the Rams. Cooper Cup's supposed to
Backup
be
Stafford.
leaving. Oh no! I thought we were talking about Devontae. I was talking.
Oh,
About
okay. I was like,
I'm not
yeah,
giving
I would
Rodgers a
eventually.
lick of news. He can sit on free
Yeah,
agency, and we'll talk about him in 4 months when he picks up, a team. Then
fair enough.
Christian Kirk has been officially cut. Looks like they are moving on from him. We could just kind of talking about a few areas. Maybe Dallas might be an area where he kind of helps out Dak and the team more than he actually has fantasy relevance.
Yeah, he wouldn't hurt CD all too much. Not a ton of competition. I mean, and they did trade their fourth rounder for Jonathan Mingo, so I mean, there's might be some little bit of competition there. But no, I think that'd be a good spot for him. I don't know about I don't know if he's fantasy relevant anymore. Would you say he's out that door?
I think maybe in dynasty leagues as like those fill in as your wide receiver 4 or 5 once injuries get really bad or bye weeks. Like he's probably going to be on those rosters, but I don't see him being drafted in redraft.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Cowboys would be able to do that because they have cleared up some cap space, which opened up a little over $40 million as far as restructuring Dak and a few others. So, hey, this is the year. Jerry Jones going all in. This might be his last year, of it all. So who knows? Go for it, man.
Yeah, what a great free agency class to do this for, not last year's. But hey, whatever. That's their prerogative.
Hey, he's going to load up for a Super Bowl. He's going to be grabbing headline names like DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs and Amari Cooper. Let's just bring out all the old guys. No, it's not Florida.
That'd be
We're
a
not
team.
retiring.
That'd be a team in 2018.
Yeah, that would have been studly. You wouldn't have been able to make that work under the cap.
Yeah, no way.
Interesting situation developing up in the Windy City. That wind blows, but this line will not be knocked over at this point. They made trades for 2 different guards. Thuney coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs, bringing some veteranship, bringing in a championship ring or 2. Did he get 2 of them? I think he got 2 of them.
You got 2, yeah.
So yeah, he's bringing in there some playoff knowledge, helping out with keeping Caleb Williams up on his feet, and then also Jonah Jackson coming over from the Rams. So I think it was a 4th and 6th round pick they traded for these 2 players, but right off the bat they got their guards.
Yeah, kind of weird that the Chiefs let Tooney go for a 4th rounder when he's an all pro. Like something's weird. I tried looking into it more to be like, why would they do this? But and none of it made sense. Maybe they're really focusing on paying their other guard, Trey Smith. They value him a little more, and they want to make him top dollar paid. But I seriously don't. Not keeping Tooney when you're still in a win now mode is really weird to me.
When your offensive line is what lets you down. So
Yeah,
maybe age is creeping up there. Maybe they saw some things they're ready to move on for the money that he was going to be required because the Bears are going to have to re-up in contracts with both these players. But they have the 3rd most cap space going into the offseason, so they are going to be just fine.
yeah.
Other news, I didn't write anything down. You were rolling it off for me. I didn't remember. What else we got?
DK's officially been given permission to seek a trade. They want a 1st and a 3rd, which I think is pretty fair. I mean, AJ Brown got a 1st and a 4th. from the Titans. So I think teams would definitely give up a first round. Like if it was like the Packers or the Chargers, if they didn't really value some of the guys late at the end. I think if they wanted just to, trade and solidify their wide receiver room. But he does want $30 million for an extension, so I think that's where it gets a little more interesting.
Which I don't think is out of the realm of like that's not crazy wide receiver money at this point.
No.
So I think that's about what he's going to be owed. I think if it's a late first, I think that might be what he gets. If anything else comes of it, it might be like a later pick swap, like maybe a first and a third, and they get back a fifth or something like that. But with that 30 mil, I think right around a first, I think, come on, Packers, pay up. That 21st pick, 23rd pick, something like that.
Yeah, it makes it a little more interesting for like the Patriots if they really wanted to get like someone like him. I don't think they want to trade their fourth overall pick for that. So
Tutu Atwell, wide receiver for the Rams. I think this is year 5 for him, 5 or 6. He was a pick for them a while ago. Little guy. He was fantasy relevant, 2 years ago for us for just a bit, but fully guaranteed $10 million contract. He will be back. He's probably going to be the wide receiver 3-ish for the team.
Yeah, very interesting because if Cooper Kupp is dealt, him versus Whittington is going to be a very interesting debate going into the season. Like who is going to be the number 2? I'm a Whittington guy. I think I like his metrics a lot more than Tutu. So I don't know where you stand with him.
I imagine we'll probably see all 3 of them on the field. They run that 11 personnel quite a bit. So I could see both of those guys being on the field with Puka Nacua, but I'd probably be putting my money on Whittington. We know what Tutu Atwell is. We know where his ceiling can be. He's kind of a boom-bust type of guy, but just not the talent that you want to really lean into that boom-bust style.
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody else you want to bring up?
The last bit of news is that Saquon got a fat extension, 2 years, $40 million, $36 million guaranteed. So for all the dynasty owners out there, that is I know he got a payday for the 3 years, but like now it's now we're sitting at 4-year deal left, but still you feel very, very confident that the Eagles very much value him as a key component of this team.
Yeah, they'll be running through him for at least the next 2 years. I think that's when that window might need to be like reassessed with the quality as far as dynasty value. But if you were able to pay for him even after the Super Bowl and just in this window between now, people are just like, oh, let me get out from underneath that great season. You're looking good.
Yeah, I wonder what the price is for him now. I wonder how much like Barkley owners are going to ask for
Funny you say that. What better way to establish the value? How else do we truly understand the value of these players than with a mock draft?
This is true.
Segue, Brenden. You crushing it down there, man.
I know.
So, folks, yeah, this is what you came for. This is what we're here to get into. It is a mock draft. This is a 12-team. We're doing half PPR, Superflex, and then, of course, a little tight end premium because who doesn't play in that nowadays? Well, here we go. Kicking it off. Starting off right. Brenden, you will be first pick out of the two of us. We got Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar going off the bat. I feel like that's the tier for me. I'm open to just about any position here. Where are you going?
Yeah, so in Superflex, quarterbacks are a lot more valuable than any other position because you need 2. Right now, like Jamar Chase is the next highest ranked person, followed by Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, JJ, who's obviously pretty much, I would say, I would have Justin ahead of Jamar just because of how safe he is. Brock Bowers at 8 is kind of crazy to me. I don't think I'd ever take Brock Bowers in the first round in a Superflex. But another guy that I value probably more than Jalen and Joe Burrow is this guy, Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to take him. I think his style of play will last a little bit longer. I'm not saying Joe Burrows doesn't, but I just think Mahomes will be playing into his 40s, and I'm not sure if Hurts or Burrow will be doing the same.
And look, it all depends on how you want to dissect this, but I see the Kansas City Chiefs as a better franchise than the Cincinnati Bengals. And for that, I give an extra point just to Patty Mahomes. Who knows how big this point is, but like he's about to lose T. Higgins. He's having to go flex on his owner to make sure that they pay his guy. So, I just trust that he'll be in a better situation. I would take Jefferson over Chase as far as the wide receiver. I don't have a problem taking Brock Bowers this early. If it's tight end premium in Dynasty, I'll take him in the first round.
Premium's different, yes.
Yeah, huge difference there. It'd probably be the second round if it wasn't tight end premium. But like, he's 22 years old. He is going to be the top 3 tight end rest of his 10-ish plus year. Like it's such a premium at this position to grab him. So I'd be okay with that. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. Hurts is gone. I'm going to take a running back here because there are 5 wide receivers I like. So I'm going to bank that I get one of those. Take one of these running backs. I really love Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely love what's going on there. But Bijan, man, that's just a special talent. So I'm going to go for Bijan Robinson here.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yes, I got him. I freaking got him. So after me, we got Jahmyr Gibbs going right after. Amon-Ra and Neighbors going the turn. Puka Nacua at 11. I'm back up. I've got CeeDee Lamb and Brian Thomas Jr. to choose from here. Like, it should be a slam dunk CeeDee, right?
Oh, I mean, for me, I'm probably leaning towards Brian Thomas, but yeah, CeeDee is like right now, I think ahead just a little bit, but I could definitely see it changing by the end of the year.
So I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. here 100%. But I think you're splitting hairs at this point. Like, take who you want. Take who you're really going after. I don't think there's too much of a value difference between the two guys. 25 and 22 years old. Do I want to grab those 3 years? I don't think that makes a huge difference. But I just love Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, right now I am staring at Caleb, Drake May, Saquon, London, Marvin, Bo Nix. I guess the next running back would be Devon Achane. I'm just so enticed with Ben Johnson going to Chicago. I think he fixes everything there. So if I could have Patrick Mahomes Jr. with Patrick Mahomes, I'd be great. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to gamble. I'm going to get both my quarterbacks out of the way really quickly.
Yeah, had I been a little later in the draft, I like the value for Caleb Williams. Herbert went right after me, but I love being able to grab one of those two quarterbacks in the second round, who I think their value will be in the first round come next year.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's Drake May, Bo Nix, and Jordan Love all sitting here. Garrett Wilson, who I've always admired, he's just entering another situation where it's just like, man, another quarterback's coming into town. Right now it's slated to be Tyrod Taylor, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's their starting quarterback. Which we don't think it will be, but
Jordan Travis is there.
Yeah. AJ Brown's another wide receiver, but he's getting up there in age. I think he's 27. Actually, I didn't realize how young he is. I thought he was a little bit older. That is crazy. And then Rashee Rice, who I'm a big fan of Rashee Rice. I know he might be suspended. You don't necessarily need a stacking dynasty. I think I'm going to take AJ Brown here. I think it's a little bit more. I think he's still top 5 right now. So,
whew. All right, here I am. I really don't like leaving without a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I knew we were doing a mock on Sleeper, and they don't value quarterbacks as high as they should, so I knew I'd kind of get away with this here. It's a big choice here between Bo Nix and Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love more as a QB2 just because he is a pocket guy. You know, he's going to have big games, he's going to have booms, he's going to have busts. But Bo Nix is that guy that gives you that rushing floor, so he gives you a little bit more consistency, and I really love that consistency. Are they about the same age? Bo Nix, 25, Jordan Love, 26. Freaking crazy. Absolutely wild here. Looking at guys that are going to come behind it, I have the opportunity at maybe Baker and Trevor Lawrence, Michael Penix, all of these guys on the way back. So I'm going to go ahead and take Bo Nix here. I'm going to take the exciting. I'm going to take the rushing upside. I want in Dynasty an X-Factor player, and he's the kind of guy that can give you that. And coming right back, I mean, Jordan Love's still available for me. T. Higgins is right here as well. Bucky is there, but I'm not ready to take a wide receiver. Rome Odunze, very excited. I'm with you on the Ben Johnson side. So do I go for Rome Odunze, grab him here? I don't know if I want him over a lot of those. So I'm going to go ahead and take T. Higgins.
Okay.
It's T, 26. Yeah, give me T. Higgins. Give me my wide receiver 2. So I've got Bijan, Brian Thomas Jr., Bo Nix, and T. Higgins.
And I will say, folks, this is a lot different than redraft because you are stuck with these guys forever. So, like, you do have to love these guys, like, for the long term. So, like, you might think, like, oh, well, you know, this year will be great and we'll see what happens. Like, you don't really want to make that gamble on the next year unless you're willing to, you know, want to trade them or anything else like that. That's what I love about Dynasty, and I think me and Brian both, is that you can trade guys and trade for guys. Gosh, it's so crazy how quarterbacks are still there. Love, Purdy, Baker, Lawrence. This would not be the case.
No.
If there's real people here, I will let you guys know that right now. If there's real people in here, all the quarterbacks will be gone probably by this time in this round.
For the most part, I will say
Yeah.
every league varies. I am shocked when I get into a brand new league with all randos. Sometimes you get lucked out like this, but it's all about playing your board. If this is the way your board's going, don't go uber aggressive with quarterbacks. Get a few of them, but still play with what the value there is on the board.
Yeah. I still don't have a running back. I could go like guys who are near retirement and just play those guys as my starters and just hope for the best because there's some really young wide receivers I like, and I like this guy a lot to stack, which it's going to be Xavier Worthy for me if I can draft him. I was like, there we go.
I was hoping to force a few picks there, make a few quarterbacks go because again, these skill players are just dropping off. You've got Chase Brown. This one scares me at 410, taking him here around guys like Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Bucky Irving. I feel like was the cliff. I wouldn't take a lot of these running backs here in this fourth, maybe fifth round. There are just so many question marks on these guys.
Yeah, there's still some wide receivers I really, really like. And I'm looking at like Ayuk. I still like Ayuk regardless of the situation. Waddle, Jordan Addison's like a solid wide receiver 2-ish, and I mean I already have my wide receiver 2 taken off the board. I had George Pickens. Man, it's tough not to take George Pickens, honestly.
Right, I was waiting for it.
It's so tough not to take George Pickens here, and I really like George Pickens. But if it sits right now, I'm going to take the gamble on a guy who might go to a new home and a new team that might value him a lot. I'm going to take DK here.
Awesome. We're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to add
quarterbacks.
We're going to add some quarterbacks because, folks, this is unreal. We're just going to make a stupid team here if we let that roll.
I agree. That I will say, folks, usually in your dynasty leagues, and the ones I've done startups in, your first 3 rounds, I would say about, 15 quarterbacks are off the board typically.
Yeah, you're not going to have this many teams with just one quarterback this late, so this looks a lot better getting these guys their second quarterback. Derrick Henry, this is where these old guys fall. Everybody is so infatuated with age, which you do need to be aware of age, but your whole team doesn't have to be under 24 years old. That just doesn't work in the NFL. You mix a combination of great draft picks in the young age with great free agency acquisitions, whether they be through trades or the waivers in Dynasty, and then also just like your old guys, your old farts, your Derrick Henrys. I won a championship this year in Dynasty. Who do I have on there? I had Derrick Henry. I had a lot of old fucks. It's just how that works. Jalen Waddle still being on the board here. You got Tyreek Hill, question marks popping up. Does he still have it? All that fun stuff. George Pickens. I think Jalen Waddle is a tier above Pickens, so I will take him. And I think Pickens is stuck in hell, folks. Let's be honest. He's got either Fields coming back or Wilson. I don't think that looks great for him.
Rude.
Let's change this. Let's give them another quarterback. There we go. Alrighty. At this point, I will grab my second quarterback. We talk about how unrealistic some of this is. Dak is hated. Dak is always hated in Dynasty. He's one of the best values I think you can find in Dynasty football, just whether it be midseason, preseason, into the season. Just nobody wants to love on him. And the dude completely balls out when it comes to fantasy football. So I'm going to grab him as my second quarterback. Lock that position up.
Yeah, I always ask Dak owners if they're willing to deal him, and most of the times the people that I play with are a lot more competitive, so they have the fair, honest prices. But if you can get into like a home league and they're Cowboys haters and they don't like Dak, take advantage of offering second round picks or whatever for him just because they don't like Dak, and he always people are hating him for whatever reason.
Well, even just as ADP, you take him over Tua in a heartbeat, right?
Yes.
100% Tua and all his question marks. Michael Penix, unproven. JJ McCarthy, unproven. Dak's been at it left and right. I don't see why he would stop.
I think I take Michael Penix before Dak, but then I would definitely take Dak before JJ McCarthy, though.
As my second quarterback, I feel so much safer with Dak. If we're talking about my third quarterback, I like the rolling the dice and the young guy, but I don't know. Is my second one? Risky.
Yeah. For me, I'm staring at. I still don't have a running back yet, which is fine. I don't value running backs super highly in Dynasty, just because they don't last as long for career wise. there's now a trend in switching to what they are. But I'm going to take a guy right now who had a really, really good second half of the year, and they just opened up a spot for him to get more targets. I'm going to take Ricky Pearsall. I could call it a reach, but, I'm not sure what the guys in front of me are going to do. So, but if you guys like a guy, take the guy. So,
yeah, go get your fellas. Worst case scenario, you're wrong and you trade them for hardly nothing later on, but you're able to move on eventually.
Yeah. So I still don't have a running back. The next running back I see here is Alvin Kamara, Travis Etienne, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, James Conner, DeAndre Swift. Honestly, I think it's kind of crazy that I think I might go this like hero RB style. I think I might go Alvin Kamara here. I think he's still got something left in the tank, and I know he's going to not have anybody come vulture his targets or anything like that. So I'm taking Alvin Kamara here.
Wow. First running back for Brenden. So Brennan's looking at, we got Patty Mahomes, Caleb Williams, A.J. Brown, Xavier Worthy, DK Metcalf, Ricky Pearsall. First running back is Alvin Kamara in round 7. So I fall victim to it. I'll be honest here. When it comes to these older running backs and these drafts, especially when you get to like 6 through 10, there's still some value to be had with quarterback, wide receiver. And I get so nervous about taking these running backs. And I feel so good about it after the draft that I'm glad I'm got this guy. And next thing I know, I'm holding on to this wide receiver that he's amounting to nothing. He's got virtually no value left. And this running back who has no value left a year later, he carried that team to a championship. So don't ignore that championship. Yeah, you want to be great for multiple years, but you also want to win. I'll take 3 years in the absolute slums if I get a chip.
Yeah.
All right, so most every team has 2 quarterbacks. Team 12 does not, so we'll make sure he gets Anthony Richardson or something right there. Options I'm looking at are the tight end. We've got Kincaid, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, David Njoku. There's question marks around all of those guys. Running backs, I'm not touching ETN. I am not touching Pacheco. We're also doing this draft right before the NFL draft, which some people will say don't start a Dynasty League at this point. I think you can. You just know what you're working with. Don't heavily invest in players that could lose their job.
Yeah, another fun way to incorporate the draft, if you want to make it to where you want to incorporate the rookie picks, is assign kickers as draft picks. So, Brenden McManus is 1-1. So if they take 1-1, that means they're going to have the first overall pick, so on and so forth. So we did this one time for Startup League. It was a lot of fun. You just look at the board and you just see like some team had like 3 kickers in a row, and they just had picks 1, 2, 1, 4, and 1, 5. It was just super interesting. So that's a way to make it more fun for you guys.
I 100% think that's my favorite way, especially if you want to be drafting now. Because if you draft after the NFL draft, usually you're going to have the rookies in there, and you only get one draft. In a startup season, I want the startup draft and the rookie all in the same offseason. So I like doing my startup right around this time, and then you got the rookie afterwards. But yeah, the kicker plugin is, once I learned about that, I was blown away. I was like, you can do this? No kidding. What? So I took Josh Downs, a wide receiver that's immensely talented. A little homerism back there, but his situation may change. We could have a brand new quarterback next season. Who knows? I'm buying talent here. I might be a slight overpay, but it's in the mix of older wide receivers, running backs that have question marks on them. What do I do here? I'm going to take a quarterback. I'm going to homer it up. I'm going to pair Josh Downs with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is a mere, what is he? 22 years old. Will he get it fixed? I don't know, but he still could, and his upside is it's ridiculous. So, give me Anthony Richardson on the off chance he turns it around.
I was so bummed. I was hoping to get Mark Andrews so late, but I did not. I'm staring at Tucker Kraft, which I do like Tucker Kraft. I think he'll be a tight end 1 this year. He had a great season last year. A lot of boom games for sure. Wide receivers, it's Cortland Sutton, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir. If I really wanted to solidify and this go for gold, Davante Adams is there. My running backs, I was really hoping for James Conner. That didn't happen. So it's Brian Robinson, which there's talks that they could be replacing him this draft. I don't know, man. Brian Robinson, when he's on the field, he's really good. So I have a hard time believing that. They just don't want to pay him. But I'm going to take Brian Robinson. I'm going to take the backfield with Jaden Daniels. So
And yeah, a guy with Cliff Kingsbury who loves to run it when he gets in close. Even if he does get replaced, they draft a new running back. He'll still have the option to be the workload this year.
yeah. Now back to me again. Oh, a little bit of a tight end run. I was hoping one of them kind of fall. I wouldn't mind Kyle Pitts this late. I know Brian here is a big.
What are we talking about here? Hold on.
Yeah. I would say my wide receivers are fairly young with Xavier Worthy and Ricky Pearsall. AJ Brown's still there. DK's, I think, 27 as well. So I can have a veteran guy who I think is still going to command targets. I'm going to go Davante Adams here as my second flex. Hope he goes to the Chargers.
Okay. Yeah, no, I bet you are. Chargers and Rams. Give me one of those really just the LA teams. Alrighty, back up. I've got three quarterbacks, 2.5 quarterbacks, 4 wide receivers. I've got my 1 running back. I would like to start filling that in here, but I'm not just going to start filling with crap. When I see Ramondre Stevenson, when I see Trey Benson, when I see Tony Pollard, all of those guys don't excite me. Not for this portion of the draft. This is a spot where I don't mind trading back a little bit because there's a lot of question marks, a lot of one-year players. So if you're able to, honestly, I'll move back the entire draft. Just nickel and dime it the entire time, just acquiring.
This is what we call a second-round goblin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'll just take second-round picks for all these guys.
Oh, yeah. Just round them up, give them to me. Let me figure it out later once I have a better assessment. Because, I mean, that's honestly what you're looking at here. So many of these players are going to be burnt and just nothing left. Does J.K. Dobbins get a new contract? Does Tajay Spears break my heart again this season? Aaron Jones, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby. OMG. And if it feels like I'm stalling, folks, you're with me. You're on it. I am stalling. Shoot. All right. I really don't know. And I think I'm going to take him on the way back. So I'm going to take Tajay Spears here.
All right.
I think there's a decent chance they take a running back, but probably not high, just because Pollard will be on his last year of the deal. I think Leggett goes, Stevenson goes, and the tight ends just don't move the needle for me. Ingram's probably going to get cut.
I feel like they would have cut him by now if they cut Christian Kirk. I feel like if they're doing their assessments,
that's why I'm kind of giving it a couple more days. Maybe he doesn't, but I want him to go to the Chargers. If we're being honest, I want him everybody just go to the Chargers.
Everyone just go to the Chargers, I guess.
Oh man, do we go? I've got plenty of young talent here. Let me go wide receiver. Oh my god, I really don't know. Does they have anything left in the tank? Who knows? Let's go Cooper Kupp. I was going to go Jacoby Myers. Does he just be able to absorb targets there? But something could happen. But yeah, let me go Cooper Kupp.
I'm so glad you didn't go Jacoby Myers because I like Jacoby Myers. So I'm going to take Jacoby Myers.
There it is. I just didn't want to take another young guy. I've got plenty of age. I'm like, quit fading the old ones. Let me see if there's something.
Yeah. So now I still need a tight end. I like Freiermuth. I mean, he doesn't really move the needle. I just know he'll be steady for 3 or 4 catches, maybe a touchdown every 4 games. Who knows? Travis Kelce, I mean, it's his last year. So I would rather not try to draft another replacement on another replacement. And then Cole Kmet, I mean, I have Caleb, so there's a little bit of a stack there if I want to go for those boom weeks. And then there's another guy that we're not really saying anything. It's Dallas Goedert. He's just been quietly steady. Yeah. Should I not take him? Because it looks like Brian wants to take him. But
No, take him. I have no interest in Dallas Goedert.
Right. I'm going to take Cole Kmet, though. I'll let you see if he falls to you.
I literally have no. He could fall to around 13, and I wouldn't take Dallas Goedert.
Fair enough.
Cole Kmet, I am excited for this season. This is a guy who was big fades for coming into this year, but it's kind of turned a little bit. Keenan Allen out of there, just the 2 wide receivers to deal with. Better offense. I'm excited for some Cole Kmet. Jalen Warren's sitting there. I guess you could take a swing at that. Does he get a substantial role this year? Jonathan Brooks obviously is not. I'm going to go ahead and take my tight end here. There's a lot of talk last year about Ben Sinnott. Everybody wanted him, just wanted him to blow up this year. And Zach Ertz, it looks like he's probably coming back. So I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to take Jatavian Sanders. Another tight end I think I'm going to be excited for late in best ball this year.
I'm gonna call it now, folks. That might be Brian's my guy. Part
Who?
of him.
Jasavian Sanders?
Yeah, it's a strong possibility, folks. Just saying.
NFC South tight ends, man. The Saints don't own one, so I had to go that direction. It's not going to be Otten, that's for sure. He's awful. Awful? I don't know. Something there. Oh my God. What are we looking at here? Javante will. Yeah, I don't want to take any of these running backs because of the time period that we are drafting. None of these running backs look appealing to me. I don't believe that he would still be on the board at this point, but I'm going to take Matthew Stafford. At this point in the draft, quarterbacks mean so much come July and August when people are looking around, looking at their teams like, oh crap, I need another starter. You're going to be flipping these guys for way more than you buy them.
No, I wanted Blake Coleman gets taken right before me. Damn it.
Oh, no. He's going to get replaced.
No.
Come on.
Yeah. Again, yeah. So I'm staring at probably a quarterback here, and Derek Carr is probably on his last leg. Same with Geno. I mean, Derek Carr might be a little more enticing just because of the new offensive coordinator. They'll probably be drafting a wide receiver 2 along Chris Olave. Yeah, I talked myself into it. I'm gonna give me the Carr.
Pulling him out of the garage, huh?
Yeah, pulling him out of the garage, taking him for a test spin. Luckily, he's on my bench. I don't have to worry about it. And this is my last pick. So Braylon Allen, Rico Dowdle, Javante, Quentin, Cedric, and Romeo Dobbs all went. So now I probably want to go another running back, but like Ray Davis is like exciting. Actually, this is a guy that's kind of more exciting because I think if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, I mean, they took him in the 4th round. They have a little bit more capital on him. I'm going to take Isaac Guerendo.
Yeah, great pick. Great pick. I'd much rather have him over some of those running backs that are still sitting there. Tyler Algier is intriguing to me just because I do have Bijan. It would be nice to have that backfield locked up, knowing that they can kind of lean on Algier. He'd give me a 3/4 of a Bijan. I'm going to hope that he would come back to me in the next round, maybe play around. There's not a whole lot of running backs, backup running backs that I actually feel safe with, guys that I feel like won't lose their job. Marshawn Lloyd's one of them. He was banged up all last year, so we didn't get to see a lot from him. Josh Jacobs really carried a bulk of the rock, and he's still in a year-by-year contract. He's got 3 years left, but like he could be gone come next year. I don't see them spending capital on the running back room just between the two of them and free agency. I think they're good. They've got other needs to address. So I think that he's locked in at probably a borderline flexy running back coming into the season. So give me Marshawn Lloyd.
No, that's a good pick.
Alrighty, you want to tell the folks who you have round up? So we're going to end this through 13 rounds. Obviously, most startup drafts go closer to like 20 to 25 rounds, depending on how big your roster is. But
yeah,
we're going to wrap it up to 13 because it starts to get really boring for some of you.
Yeah, you're starting to take some guys. You're just like, where you say who at the end of it, and you're just like, well, I have no idea. But yeah, so I went back-to-back quarterbacks to start. I went Mahomes, Caleb Williams. My running backs are going to be interesting. I did this purely because if I'm not drafting rookie running backs or I'm not a part of the rookie draft class, I know this upcoming class is very, very heavily talented. So I'll focus basically all my draft capital towards running backs if it sits like this. But it's Alvin Kamara, Brian Robinson, and my wide receivers I heavily invested in. It's AJ Brown, Xavier Worthy, DK Metcalf, and then Ricky Pearsall and Davante are my flex with Cole Kmet, my tight end. My bench rounds off with Jacoby Myers, Derek Carr, and Isaac Guerendo.
Great place to start. Obviously, you'll have to address the running back position. But like we said, if you're doing this startup before the rookie draft and Brennan's going into it presumably with all 4 of his rookie picks, he's probably getting a running back there in the first 2 rounds. Or 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds, which goes a long way into helping this team. You're well built as far as the bones go with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. So like, yeah, your rookie picks and your trading, you're moving in, it's all for the running backs, which hopefully that's what you're doing. For my team, I started off a little different. Again, taking advantage of the system here in Sleeper, I probably wouldn't have had quite this team had we had 10 other people with us. But Bijan and Brian Thomas Jr. are going to be my cornerstone pieces. I have Bo Nix at quarterback. I've got Higgins, Waddle, Downs, and Kupp as my remaining wide receivers. Prescott and Richardson will be fighting it out for QB2. And then my running backs, I've got Tajay Spears and Marshawn Lloyd as the backup wide receivers, and Jatavian Sanders. If I don't get one of the top 3-4 tight ends, typically, it's a crapshoot dynasty. I really have no problem at all. 4-ish years ago, you were getting Evan Ingram in like the teens. You were getting David Njoku in the teens in drafts. Jonnu Smith was on several of my teams. I had no idea about. Mike Gesicki is always floating around there. So like, there's these athletic tight ends that you can get in the 15th plus round that value pops up later on. So don't sweat these like Likeleys, the Fergusons, the Ottens, the Goddards. Could you imagine spending? Sorry, we don't make fun, people. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Your team is it's very safe at wide receiver for sure. Your running back, you went obviously hero RB with Bijan. It's your quarterbacks where you'll be maybe kicking yourself in the teeth because you'll start Bo Nix and Dak, but then Anthony Richardson has one of those classic 35-point games, and you're just like, man, I should have started him instead of Dak. But I mean, I think you'll be able to move some of the guys. That's what I also look at too. Like, can I move some of these guys in the season if my team doesn't go well? Like, can I just get anything? And that's sometimes how I look at drafts too. Because remember, this is a long-term commit. You are doing this typically forever. So
yeah, as you get later in these drafts, the value gets volatile. It's really hard to figure out what you're actually buying when you grab that pick. That's why a quarterback's not a bad pick, because their value really doesn't depreciate as fast as most other positions. Baker Mayfield, another guy you were getting in 13th plus rounds just a few years ago, and look where he's going here. He's going as a top 4 picks typically in startup drafts. So it moves quite a bit. I mean, what was it? Zach Wilson. He had draft value in Dynasty just a couple years ago when he plugged in as the back. Like, not a whole lot, but you're getting a third pick off of something that you picked up off the waivers or something like that. So It's all about moving value around, and quarterback definitely is a lot more insulated. So if you leave a startup with 5 quarterbacks, there's going to be guys that are willing to pay for it. And the closer the season it gets, the more they're going to have to pay.
I agree.
Cool. Anything that kind of stuck out to you with this mock?
I wish Sleeper had. I mean, I wonder if you can change the settings. Maybe we can dabble with that, like make a quarterback a little more quarterback heavy. But other than that, like seeing this without the rookies is a little interesting because I've done some mocks with Dynasty with like Ashton Genty's going, I want to say, right behind Gibbs. So like I would have been curious to see if we had the rookies in this and like where they are because they're not drafted yet. So it's just always interesting to do that.
Say you get to pick where Genty goes in the NFL. How high would you take him in a Superflex startup?
Oh, if he went to like the Chargers.
Chargers or Cowboys, probably like 2 of the best ones. If you want,
he would be going right. He'd be going right after Gibbs, honestly. Like he'd be
running back 3.
Yeah, I think because let's say you would have if Genty did go to the Chargers, would you taken him or Brian Thomas? Like wholeheartedly, would you have, like you got to really consider that?
In a vacuum, I would probably take Genty, but strategically and built based on other, not in a vacuum, I'd probably take Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, man, I'm going for gold, going for glory. I'm probably taking both.
Well, yeah, that option's. Oh, yeah,
no, I meant like I would have taken Genty. I would have taken both running backs. Sorry.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Hey, that's an approach, folks.
Oh, yeah.
You are confident
and a super flex.
Yeah. Hey, but that's the other thing too. It's all about your league. I'm in a couple dynasty leagues where we have like 5-ish trades the entire like calendar year. And I've got others that one of my buddies has put in 5 trades just in the last 8 days. It's kind of like I'm ashamed of myself, but can't keep up with that.
Slacking.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, folks. Well, it's our 13-round startup Superflex draft for you, all wrapped up, putting a nice little bow for you to go back and watch over and over. And if you forget to watch it, you just hit that little subscribe button, the like button, and it reminds you all over again. You do that, it keeps us rolling, keeps us back to Indianapolis next year to go see the Combine, get even more juicy tips for you. But, Brenden, we got to get out of here, man. Where can the folks find you?
I gotta change my handle. It's not FFAN. It's too much BMolk now. So I gotta change that.
BMolk.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Football coming at you, folks. It's going to be so much fun. It's at @too_much_Brian if you're looking for me. The 2 of us are going to be all over the place. We're expanding our reach. We're going to be dabbling into the social media realms with the TikTok, something like that. The Instagrams. We got a whole team of high schoolers here to help us because we don't know what we're doing. But yeah, we got to get out of here. We'll see y'all later, and thanks.